Okay, so we have found ourselves in Virginia. Well, this isn't Virginia. This is Washington D.C. But this is U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber. She's 43. Merrick Garland, Mayorkas, criminals, and pretty sure we're never getting to the bottom of this one. Anyway, President Obama and President Clinton and President Bush, former presidents, however you want to say it. You know how they're not the only ones, but they're the ones that come to mind. How they have, like, I don't know, dead bodies following them around. And better remember Obama's chef that was found dead in the pond, and Vince Foster during the Clinton administration that they found him dead and said it was suicide, and he shot himself in the back of the head, and that's all you hear about that, and don't ask any questions, and this is where we're at. Well, this is where we're at with Miss Jessica Aber. So we're going to read a little bio, and we'll watch a couple videos and see if we got all our questions answered, or if this asks more questions than it answers. Also, people hate it when I do this. I'm going to do it 3 times. 92% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. You got your phone in your hand, you're at your computer, click the button, and I'll stop the harassment. This is where we're at. Ex-U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber investigated Russia CIA leaker before death. March 23rd, 2025. Updated March 23rd, 2025. That was 8:43 a.m., 12:50 p.m. Also, we're going to go to reader mode on this because all these ads won't stop. Former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Jessica Aber, who was found dead at the age of 43 by Virginia authorities on Saturday, was at the helm of high-profile investigations into intelligence leaks, allegations of war crimes against Russia-linked individuals, and people suspected of providing sensitive U.S. technology to Moscow before she stepped down at the start of the year. Why it matters. Aber, an appointee of former President Joe Biden, resigned in January after President Donald Trump was inaugurated. She had risen to lead one of the most important federal prosecutors' offices, and roughly 300 prosecutors, civil litigators, and support personnel regularly tasked with national security and terrorism-related cases. The Alexandria Police Department said on Saturday that officers responded shortly after 9 a.m. local time to reports of an unresponsive woman at Beverly Drive, north of downtown and south of Arlington. And this is her again with Mayorkas and Garland, criminals. What to know? In mid-January, Asif Rahman, a former, I don't know, maybe that's some noodles, I don't know, a former CIA analyst, pled guilty to retaining and transmitting top-secret national defense information to people who were not entitled to receive it, before the information then appeared on social media in October of 2024. Aber said at the time that Rahman had disclosed top-secret American documents in violation of his oath, his responsibility, and the law, and his actions had placed lives at risk, undermined U.S. foreign relations, and compromised our ability to collect vital intelligence in the future. The Justice Department said in late September that it had, along with the State and Treasury Departments and law enforcement, unsealed an indictment that charged a Russian national named as Sergei Alphabet with involvement in multiple money laundering services that catered to cyber criminals, as well as the seizure of websites associated with 3 illicit cryptocurrency exchanges. Another Russian national, Timur, whatever, another Alphabet, was charged in the same indictment, they must be twins, with conspiracy to commit and aid and abet bank fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit access device fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. Every step cyber criminals took in their pursuit of money leaves another track that leads us to their doorstep. Aber said in a statement at the time, and if you follow them on their path of greed, they will lead us to you. We will not stop, because while domains can always be seized, justice is unyielding. In November 2024, a Virginia-based company and 2 of its senior executives were accused of running 3 different schemes to illegally transship sensitive American technology to Russia, including sending equipment to a Russian telecommunications company linked to the Kremlin and Russia's notorious FSB security agency. We must not allow critical systems and technologies to be transferred to anyone who may use them against America and our global partners, Aber said. Guarding against these transfers is imperative, and violations of the law that protect our national security will be met with ardent prosecution. In late 2023, Aber was also involved in an indictment against 4 Russian-affiliated individuals charged with torture, inhumane treatment, and unlawful confinement of a U.S. national in Ukraine after Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The accused were named as Serenovic. I'm not going to try to pronounce these. The M1 and the D1, the B1, along with 2 individuals identified only by their first names, Valari and Nazar. We are proud to be at the forefront of the Justice Department's efforts to hold perpetrators of war crimes violations accountable in Ukraine and will continue to pursue them, Aber said. What people are saying. Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a statement that the loss of Jessica Aber, former U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of Virginia, is deeply tragic. Our hearts and prayers go out to her family and friends during this profoundly difficult time. Eric Siebert, current U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, said, "We are heartbroken beyond words to learn of the passing of our friend and former colleague, U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber. She was unmatched as a leader, mentor, and prosecutor, and she is simply irreplaceable as a human being. We remain in awe of how much she accomplished in her all too brief time on this world. What happens next? An investigation is underway into the circumstances around Aber's death, and no preliminary cause of death has been given." Of course no preliminary cause of death has been given. Do you think for 1 minute you're going to hear much else about this? I don't know. This was... Well, it said March 20-something. March 23rd. So, let's go to, I don't know, a few hours ago.
A former federal prosecutor for Virginia died over the weekend at the age of 43. Alexandria police found Jessica Aber at her home, or rather at a home, after getting reports for an unresponsive woman. 10 on Your Side's Nick Broadway shows us where the investigation stands and how her former colleagues are remembering her.
The sudden passing of Jessica Aber left many of her colleagues shocked and grieving this weekend. She's described as a prosecutor who didn't care about wins or losses, but rather cared about fairness.
Jess Aber was a consummate professional, a dear person, kind, intelligent, hardworking, detail-oriented. She was a prosecutor's prosecutor.
Fadahi worked alongside Aber for many years, fondly remembering their time in court and their conversations as friends.
One of the first things that Jess said after she was confirmed by the United States Senate unanimously was, there is a crisis of trust in the criminal justice system. And Jess saw it as her mission to address that crisis of trust.
Aber started her service for the Eastern District as an assistant U.S. attorney in 2009. She was appointed by then-President Joe Biden to serve as U.S. attorney in 2021. Aber resigned from her post shortly before President Donald Trump took office. Last fall, Aber was one of the leads on an investigation into 2 Russian nationals who were charged in a billion-dollar money laundering scheme. Fadahi recalls working with Aber in the embezzlement case against former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell years before her confirmation as U.S. Attorney.
And I can't thank Jess enough. When she would come down, "Hey, do you want to have coffee?" We would sit down, we would talk about the concerns that I had in Norfolk and how our offices could work closely together.
Alexandria police said in a statement, they're investigating the circumstances of her death as, quote, a matter of protocol. An anonymous source from the U.S. Attorney's Office told WRIC, our sister station in Richmond, that Aber died in her sleep. No other details have been released.
A 43-year-old, otherwise perfectly healthy female just dies in her sleep. Okay.
She was 43. She was young. She had energy. And she had an entire and really bright career ahead of her after accomplishing all the things she already had.
The Virginia Medical Examiner's Office is working to figure out how she died. Nick Broadway, 10 on your side.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, so, and the last thing I was able to find was like, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes ago.
Detectives with the Alexandria Police Department are now trying to figure out exactly what happened. Our Liana Golden is in Alexandria tonight gathering new details about this investigation.
We're here at Alexandria Police Headquarters. Officers were dispatched to Aber's home about 10 minutes from here Saturday morning, and all new tonight, 7 News got a hold of that dispatch call.
916 Beverly Drive, 916 Beverly Drive.
That's the address first responders were called to Saturday morning in Alexandria. It's where Jessica Aber lived and where she was found dead just before 9:30 a.m.
210 Alpha 211, any additional units are back to assist fire for the cardiac arrest.
Dispatchers referencing a cardiac arrest, though police have...
Cardiac arrest. Died in her sleep. See, people think, oh, they died in their sleep. They don't. The body does... People don't just close their eyes, fall asleep, and never wake up. There's a lot of... I think how I can put this. It's more brutal than you think it is. You don't just close your eyes and never wake up again. The body goes through a lot of transitions during death, and it's not just as simple as, well, she went to sleep and never woke up. No.
Not identified how Aber died, only saying they were called to the house for the report of an unresponsive woman.
It's going to be for a 46-year-old female found in bed, unresponsive, not breathing. The caller has refused CPR.
It's unknown who that caller was, and it's important to note Aber was 43 years old, not 46, as referenced in the audio. A friend of the family told ABC News on Sunday that police believe the death was the result of a long-standing medical issue.
Really? Because nobody said anything about any medical issues that she had, and if she had a long-standing medical issue, it'd be in her medical report because she was the, U.S. attorney? They have medical exams every 12 minutes. Not really, but at least every 12 months they have a complete, not that it really matters much because we've seen the complete dumpster fire Joe Biden was. Anyway, this is, and this will be covered up. I'm telling you, you'll hear the medical examiner's crap will come out and it will be some type of, I don't know, they'll lie. They'll deceive, they'll cover up. You're not going to know the truth about this one. I'm sorry. And if you think you are, I'm sorry about that too.
U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia for 3 years until resigning in January, Aber oversaw nearly 300 prosecutors and other staff. Joining the office in 2009 as an assistant U.S. attorney, she prosecuted financial fraud, public corruption, violent crime, and child exploitation cases, according to an online biography.
A lot of that sound familiar? Financial fraud, public corruption, violent crime, and child exploitation cases. She has gotten too close to somebody somewhere, or likely gotten too close to a lot of people somewhere about all this shit, and she had to go. When you are of no use to government, John F. Kennedy, I'm just throwing that out there, they will kill you. Don't think for 1 minute that they won't. Your government will do away with you when they no longer need you, or if you get too close to information.
It appears she was also involved in major cases involving CIA leaks and Russian fraud schemes. While Alexandria police conduct an investigation into Aber's death, the Chief Medical Examiner's Office in Richmond will ultimately determine the cause and manner of how she died. In Alexandria, I'm Liana Golden, 7 News.
Liana, thank you. As you mentioned, as officials work to determine an official cause of death, lawmakers who knew Aber are expressing their condolences, including the Attorney General Pamela Bondi. She called the loss there on X deeply tragic, and Attorney General Virginia Jason Miara is writing, Aber's work of public service and her work with Ceasefire Virginia saved more lives than we may realize. Ceasefire Virginia started as a way to help reduce violent crime and gang activity in the state. During her time as a federal prosecutor, Aber oversaw, again, as Liana mentioned, the case against 2 Russian nationals charged in connection with operating billion-dollar money laundering services. She also helped with a murder conviction of an alleged MS-13 gang member. According to her LinkedIn page, she graduated from the University of Richmond, then got her law degree at William & Mary. detectives with the...
Anyway, that's where we're at with this one. Pretty sure that's going to be, they'll have a funeral and all this and that, and that's going to be, you know, as much as you need to know. So, that's where we're at with this one. Also, I forgot to say in the middle, 92% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. You got your phone in your hand, you're at your computer, all you do is click the button, I'll stop the harassment. So, let me know what you think about this complete dumpster fire, and I'm out.